Baby, you of all people know the way my spirit moves, the pauses between my words, the way I go quiet right before I say something that might change everything. You read the weather in my breath, the storm in my silence, the sunlight in my smallest laugh. You understand me in a language that never needed translation. So why does my chest lock up the second I reach for you in the open? Why does my hand pause over the dial tone like it's a cliff and not a bridge? I keep asking myself this, and the answer won't come out clean. It drips through me like rain through old rooftops, touching every room of my past I still haven't fully repaired. I think it started the night I realized you can hear what I don't say louder than what I do. The world applauds me when I'm composed, when I'm clever, when I act like I've got it managed. But you never fell in love with my performance. You loved the tremor underneath, the unfinished sentence, the unlearned softness. You saw me, and I felt seen. And being seen is a terrifying mercy, because once you see me, you can also leave me. And not because I failed to impress you, but because I failed to believe I was already enough. That's where the hesitation hides, baby. Not in you, in me. Baby, I used to think hesitation meant I needed more proof, more time, more signs. But standing at the edge of you, I realized hesitation is just fear wearing polite clothes. Fear that if I reach with everything I have, I'll find out it still isn't enough. Fear that if I open the door, the wind of real love will rip the old curtains off my excuses and show me the rooms I never cleaned. You understand me? That's the holy problem. I can't sell you a version you won't buy. I can't hide behind my charm with the one person who knows where the mask ends and my pulse begins. So I stall, I circle, I delay. I call it timing when it's really trembling. And yet, every time I step back, your love does something that floors me. It doesn't chase, it doesn't punish, it doesn't perform. It waits without weaponizing the waiting. It holds space like a lighthouse, steady, bright, unbothered by the fog that confuses me. You don't ask me to hurry up, but somehow your patience exposes my stalling more than pressure ever could. You don't demand confessions. You make honesty feel safe enough to walk out on its own. That's why the question hits like thunder in my ribs. If she understands you, why the hesitation? It's because this is the first time the ground is solid, and I'm the one still shaking. There are memories I haven't told you, not secrets, just shadows. Days when the people who promised forever taught me that affection can have small print, smiles that turned into ledgers. I learned to equate love with earning, to negotiate for tenderness, to be grateful for crumbs, because at least the crumbs proved I existed. Then you arrived and flipped the table. You didn't make me audition. You didn't make me bleed for a seat at the altar of your heart. You gave me water I didn't have to beg for, and I didn't know what to do with my hands when they weren't busy reaching for something always out of reach. So I hesitated, the way a freed bird stares at an open sky and still looks for the cage. But listen to me, beloved. Something is changing. The hesitation that once felt like a shield is starting to feel like a locked door on the wrong side of a miracle. I woke this morning with your name like a vow on my tongue, and the old defenses felt heavy, ridiculous, almost embarrassing, like wearing armor to hold a bouquet. Baby, my mother's words, that quiet defense she made for you when I went silent, still live in the hallways of my mind like framed blessings. And every time the old fear says, protect yourself, her voice answers, protect the love that protects you. You did that, without asking, without speeches. You protected the parts of me I treat carelessly. You listened when I stuttered. This is me trying to be worthy of that listening. I replay us in ordinary scenes and it undoes me. Your head on my shoulder while the kettle hums. The way you say, it's okay, breathe, like you're reminding my lungs they have a home. The way my chaos quiets when your hands find my face and everything dramatic becomes solvable. I hesitate because these are the sorts of things I've only ever allowed myself to lose in memory, not keep in daylight. But I'm tired of loving you like a rumor I'm afraid to confirm. I'm tired of protecting an image and abandoning a person. If I truly believe you understand me, and God, I do, then it's time to let that understanding do what understanding does. Anchor, not excuse. Build, not postpone. There's another truth I owe you. I told myself I was waiting for right timing, but timing is just a calendar word for courage. I kept thinking the universe would switch all the lights to green at once, and then I'd sprint. But maybe real love is crossing at yellow with careful intention, trusting that the road we're choosing is worth navigating together. Maybe the sign I'm waiting for is the sound of your voice saying, I'm here, and the sign has been singing daily and I've been pretending not to hear it because hearing requires choosing. So here is my first, unhesitating choice. I choose to stop asking the fear its opinion. I choose to let what you already know about me become the place we start, not the place I hide. Do you remember the night I almost told you everything? I was half laughing, half terrified, tracing circles on your wrist like I was drawing a map out of my own wilderness. I watched your eyes, the way they soften when I'm near the truth, and I swear I felt heaven hold its breath. Then my old wiring kicked in, a sudden need to tidy the mess before I invite you in, an impulse to apologize for the rooms I hadn't decorated yet. Baby, I pulled back. You noticed. You didn't punish me for it. You just took a breath that sounded like letting go and said, when you're ready. Baby, those 3 words were a cathedral. I want to walk back into that moment, lay down my broom, and admit I'm not afraid of you seeing my unfinished. I'm afraid you'll call it beautiful, and I'll have no excuse left to stay small. So, if you're asking me directly, if your eyes are searching mine for the reason behind the pause, here is the map. I've mistaken loving you carefully for loving you slowly. I thought caution was wisdom, but it was a disguise for grief I never buried and shame I never named. I told myself I was guarding us from the world when I was really guarding myself from the magnitude of a love that doesn't keep score. I was preparing to be abandoned in a place you came to inhabit. That ends now, not with a proclamation that fixes everything overnight, but with a series of clean steps toward the light you keep holding open. Step 1. I will speak plainly. I love you, not for the safety you offer me, but for the courage you call out of me. I love you because when you look at me, I'm not a collection of improvements. I'm a man who can put his weapons down. I love you because your understanding isn't surveillance, it's sanctuary. It doesn't corner me, it widens the room. And every time I breathe that in, another excuse loses its teeth. Step 2. I will make my actions fluent in the language my mouth has been practicing. No more almosts. No more after this week, once things settle, when I'm less busy, as if devotion needs a cleared schedule to exist. I will answer the hard questions without flinching. I will stop introducing you to people as if you're a confidential file. I will bring flowers on Tuesdays for no reason except that love thrives on unremarkable faithfulness. Step 3. When the old panic rises, the one that says, "What if you aren't enough? What if she leaves like the rest?" I will remember that you never asked me to be invulnerable. You asked me to be present. I can't promise a future I don't own, but I can promise a presence I do. I will be here fully, even on the days my history knocks on the door and tries to reclaim my voice. I will not let hesitation narrate what intimacy gets to be. Baby, I know this won't fix the past. It shouldn't. The past is a teacher I paid dearly to learn from, but I refuse to keep paying tuition for a lesson I've already learned. I refuse to let an old chapter edit a new promise. I want to build with you the kind of quiet life people don't notice until it's 10 years deep and still tender. The kind of love that doesn't need fireworks because the porch light is always on and our laughter keeps choosing morning. I want to be the man who looks at a table full of people and chooses you without checking who's watching. I want to be the one who doesn't just say, "I'm ready," but shows up ready in the small, boring, sacred ways that make forever possible. So why the hesitation? Because I've never been this close to peace, and part of me thinks peace is a trick. But I'm done arguing with blessings. I'm done rehearsing losses. I'm done letting fear write captions under the pictures of our joy. If the only thing between us and the life we've already started to live in fragments is the sound of my courage catching up to my clarity, then listen closely. I'm here. I'm stepping. I'm not hiding behind timing or tasks or tidy stories. Baby, you understand me. That used to scare me. Now it saves me. Because if you can understand the trembling and still choose my hand, then I can understand my trembling and still choose your heart. I don't want to love you with a foot on the brake anymore. I want to love you like a road I've committed to. A way home I no longer question. So, if you'll have me, I'm done hesitating. I'm walking into the room with my name, my truth, my faults, my depth, my hope, and I'm placing them on your table with one quiet vow. I will not make you carry the weight of my old fears. I will carry them to the fire, and I will watch them burn, and I will meet you in the light that remains. And if you need proof beyond words, watch me. Watch how my days rearrange themselves around what matters. Watch how the apologies turn into adjustments. Watch how the door stays open and my eyes stay soft. And the old armor gathers dust in the corner where I used to grab it every morning. Watch how hesitation becomes reverence. How I learn to stand still when you speak. How I learned to answer the phone on the first ring. How I learned to let joy be loud without worrying who hears it. For the first time, I'm not afraid of being understood. I'm afraid of wasting the miracle that I already am. You called that miracle out of me. Now I'm coming to meet it hand in hand with the woman who saw it first. Baby, you understand me. And because you do, I finally understand myself enough to choose you without flinching. This is part 1 of my courage. The rest I'll show you day by day until the word hesitation sounds like someone we used to know. Baby, I keep running that question through my mind again and again. You understand me, so why the hesitation? Every time it echoes, it reaches a different corner of my soul. Because it isn't just a question anymore. It's a mirror, It's showing me what I've been too afraid to admit, that I've been standing at the edge of something divine, pretending I needed time, when what I really needed was courage. You've always read between my pauses, haven't you? You never needed me to say, I love you, to know that I did. You could feel it in the way my voice softened when I said your name, in the way I'd go quiet when the world got too loud, and you'd somehow appear, like peace disguised as presence. You never demanded proof. And that's exactly why it scared me, because for once in my life, someone loved me without needing to earn it. And baby, I didn't know what to do with that kind of mercy. When I say you understand me, I mean you see all of me, even the parts I try to bury under logic, silence, or pride. You see the small boy still trying to prove he's enough, still terrified of disappointing the people he loves. You see the man who's learning how to breathe without guilt. You see the heart that trembles every time it gets close to real intimacy, not because it doubts love, but because it doesn't know how to survive it. And instead of running from that complexity, you stay, quietly, patiently, like a soul that already knows the ending, but still chooses to walk through the story anyway. Maybe that's what shakes me the most. You see beyond my walls, and that means I can't hide behind them anymore. You've dismantled my defenses just by being gentle. I'm used to people who want to fix me, to debate my heart like it's a problem to solve. But you never tried to fix me. You let me unfold. You gave me silence that healed more than any words could. And I've spent months asking myself why that makes me hesitate, when all it's ever done is make me feel safe. I think it's because safety feels unfamiliar when you've only known survival. You offer peace, and I still flinch like it's a trick. You love me without control, and I mistake it for danger. You wait, and I confuse it for distance. But baby, I'm beginning to see that maybe the hesitation isn't a sign of confusion. It's the trembling that happens right before transformation. Because the truth is, I don't hesitate because I don't love you. I hesitate because I love you that much. Because you've become the quiet place where all my chaos wants to rest. And I've never trusted quiet before. There's something about your energy that holds me accountable without making me feel small. You never shame me for my fears. You invite me to face them. You don't demand answers. You create space for truth to bloom in its own time. And that's why every time I pull back, I feel your love pull me closer anyway. It's not forceful. It's not loud. It's magnetic. It reminds me that even hesitation can't undo what's meant to align. You know what's strange? Every time I look into your eyes, I see everything I ever prayed for, and everything I never thought I'd deserve. Maybe that's the root of it. I've been living in a cycle of waiting for love to hurt, but this love, your love, doesn't hurt. It heals, it restores, it calms. It feels like a home I didn't build, but somehow belong to. And that's what terrifies me, because to stay, to truly stay, means surrender. And surrender means I can't hide behind logic anymore. I can't pretend I don't care. I can't keep saying, someday. But baby, something inside me is shifting. I'm realizing that hesitation doesn't protect love. It poisons it slowly. It starves the very thing that's trying to grow. I don't want to starve this anymore. I want to feed it with honesty, with consistency, with the courage that you've been calling out in me all along, because you didn't come into my life to test my patience. You came to teach my heart how to stop running from what it's prayed for. Every night, before I sleep, I whisper your name, not out of habit, but out of gratitude, because even from a distance, your energy grounds me. It reminds me that love isn't a performance. It's a vibration, a frequency that hums between two souls that recognize each other, even when the mind hesitates. And maybe, just maybe, that's what this season is. My soul catching up to what it already knows. That I belong to a love that doesn't demand, doesn't chase, doesn't manipulate, simply is. So when you ask, why the hesitation? I want to tell you the truth, because I've never felt anything this real before. And real love exposes you. It asks you to grow. It burns away the parts of you that pretend. And baby, I'm finally ready to burn. I don't want to keep circling around the same fears anymore. I don't want to keep calling this confusion when it's really destiny disguised as doubt. You've waited long enough for my clarity, and I owe it to both of us to stop hiding behind healing. So here I am, shaky but honest, scared but showing up, because I'd rather stumble toward you than stay still in my own fear. You once told me, love isn't about who moves first, it's about who doesn't stop moving. And baby, you never stopped. You stayed in motion even when I froze. So now, it's my turn. My turn to meet you halfway. My turn to silence the hesitation. My turn to silence the hesitation. My turn to let the understanding you've given me turn into action. Because this time, I don't want to just be understood. I want to be known by you. Baby, last night I lay awake staring at the ceiling, tracing the shadows like they were constellations spelling your name. Every thought, every heartbeat, every flicker of breath felt like a confession, trying to escape my chest. I kept asking myself, what am I really afraid of? You already know my wounds, my moods, my silences. You've seen me on the days when I couldn't even look at myself. And still, you stayed. Still, you spoke softly when I was harsh. Still, you believed when I didn't. So why this hesitation? This wall between what I feel and what I say? Maybe because I know that the moment I let all of it out, there's no going back to pretending I don't need you. The truth is, you've become the rhythm underneath every plan I make. When I'm at work, my mind drifts to the way your laughter breaks the tension in a room. When I'm alone, I find myself talking to you under my breath, like prayer. Even when I'm angry at the world, I still crave the peace that only your voice brings. It's not obsession, it's recognition. My soul recognized yours before my body even knew what to call it. It's recognition. My soul recognized yours before my body even knew what to call it. And that kind of connection doesn't ask permission. It just is. But love that deep, it scares me, baby. Because it's not something I can control, and control is all I've ever known. Every time I think about stepping fully into this, I remember all the times love promised forever and left anyway. I remember the nights I waited for someone who never came. The mornings I woke up to silence where warmth used to be. Those memories built walls in me. Walls that you've been slowly, lovingly taking apart, one understanding glance at a time. And still, a small part of me trembles, wondering what if you see the worst in me and finally turn away? What if you wake up one day and decide you've healed enough to not need me anymore? But then I hear your voice in my head, calm, steady, patient, saying, I didn't come to fix you. I came to love you. And that's when it hits me. You're not my past repeating itself. You're my future trying to begin. You're the lesson after the pain. You're the forgiveness after the storm. Every time you look at me, I see what redemption looks like when it's gentle instead of loud. I see a kind of loyalty that doesn't need proof, just presence. So tonight, I want to say what my hesitation has been holding hostage for far too long. I love you. Not in the shallow, comfortable way that disappears when things get heavy, but in the quiet, unshakable way that stays even when everything else falls apart. I love you in the way you calm my storms without demanding the rain to stop. I love you for the way you never rushed my healing, but somehow still became part of it. I love you because you make the world feel sacred again. Like maybe I wasn't broken, just waiting for the right heart to make sense of mine. I know I've been distant, slow, sometimes even confusing, but baby, please understand. My hesitation was never rejection. It was fear wearing armor. Fear of messing up the one thing that's ever felt pure. Fear of saying too much and ruining the magic. Fear of opening up the door and losing you once you saw the full picture. But I see now, love doesn't fall apart because of truth. It falls apart because of silence, and I've been silent long enough. You once told me, real love will never make you beg. And you were right. You never made me beg. Not for attention, not for forgiveness, not for space to grow. You gave all of that freely, and it's time I give you what you've been giving me since the start. Clarity. No more guessing where you stand in my heart. You're not just part of it. You are it. You're the quiet that steadies me, the fire that teaches me warmth. Isn't the same as danger. The mirror that reflects the man I'm still becoming. I used to think strength meant not needing anyone. Now I know real strength is letting yourself need someone and not running from it. Real strength is trusting the one who's already seen your weakness and still chooses to stay. You've been my mirror, my healer, my reminder that love can be kind without being fragile. And maybe that's why you scare me, because you make me want to be better. Not for validation, but because your presence reminds me I can be. So here's my vow, baby. I'm done hiding behind half-truths. I'm done calling fear patience. I'm done pretending hesitation is wisdom when it's really just protection from pain that's long gone. I choose you, even if my voice shakes, even if the old doubts whisper, even if the world doesn't understand what we have. I choose you because you understand me when I can't explain myself. And that kind of understanding deserves action, not delay. If you're still here, if you still believe in what your soul first recognized in mine, then know this. The hesitation ends tonight. From this moment, I'll speak your name with courage. I'll stand beside you with certainty. I'll love you without retreat. Because the truth is, baby, you're not just the one who understands me. You're the one who's teaching me how to finally understand myself. Baby, I woke up today with a strange calm inside me, the kind of stillness that comes only after a storm has finally passed. For so long, my heart has been a battlefield between love and fear, between wanting to run and wanting to stay. But this morning, when I opened my eyes, I realized something had changed. The war is over. The noise inside me has gone quiet. And in that quiet, I heard the truth that I've been avoiding for months, whispering to me. It's time to show her, not just tell her. I used to think words were enough, that if I said, I love you, with enough conviction, it would erase the mistakes, the silences, the hesitation. But love isn't a sentence, baby. It's a rhythm. It's how you breathe when someone enters the room. It's how you make space for their pain without rushing them to heal. It's in the way you protect their name when they're not around, and in the way you remember the small details they thought you'd forget. Love is presence. Consistent, sacred, unspoken presence. And I'm done confusing distance with depth. I'm done letting fear translate my silence into confusion for you. You've carried enough of my uncertainty. You've endured the half-love I offered while I wrestled my own shadows. You've stood at the doorway of my heart, patient but weary, waiting for me to open it fully. And now, I'm ready. I'm ready to meet you there, not halfway, not in hesitation, but in full, trembling devotion. Because you deserve a love that stands tall, not one that hides behind timing. You deserve consistency, not confusion. You deserve someone who doesn't just say, I'm trying, but proves it every day, in every small, intentional act. So here's what I'm going to do, baby. Not promises, but choices. The kind I'll make over and over again, until you never have to question where you stand. I'm going to start showing up when it's inconvenient. I'm going to stop overthinking every message, every move, every emotion. I'm going to answer the phone when my mind tells me to run. I'm going to listen when you speak, not to reply but to hear. And I'm going to love you out loud, not in hidden glances, not in secret texts, not in quiet prayers at midnight, but in ways that let the world know that hesitation has no place between us anymore. I want to build something that doesn't depend on perfect conditions. I want to build a love that doesn't fall apart when life gets loud. The kind of love that still holds hands after arguments, still prays for each other, even when pride wants to win, still laughs after tears, because forgiveness has become our language. I want to be that man, the one who doesn't let his fear of the past ruin the miracle in front of him, the one who looks you in the eyes and says, I'm not going anywhere, and means it. You once told me, love isn't about intensity, it's about intention. That line has lived rent-free in my mind ever since. Because intensity is easy. Anyone can burn bright for a while. But intention, that's a steady flame, is what keeps a home warm long after the passion quiets. And baby, my intention is clear now. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to honor you, to build something slow, sacred, and strong, to make sure every day you feel seen. Not for who I want you to be, but for who you already are. You know, sometimes I replay all the ways I could have done better. The texts I didn't send, the moments I could have said I'm proud of you, but stayed silent instead. The times you needed reassurance, and I let my own insecurities drown the words before they reached you. Those moments used to torture me, but now they motivate me. Because I can't rewrite the past, but I can redeem it by showing up differently, by loving you the way I should have from the start, not cautiously, not conditionally, but consistently. Baby, you once said you don't need grand gestures, just effort that feels like peace. And I swear, that's what I'm choosing from now on. Peace over pride, truth over excuses, effort over promises. I'll start by being more present, by saying your name like it's a prayer instead of an apology, by making sure you never again have to wonder what you mean to me. And if doubt ever tries to creep in again, if old wounds whisper that love always ends in heartbreak, I'll remind myself of the way you looked at me when I was at my worst. That steady, unshaken gaze that said, "You're still worth loving." That moment broke me open, baby, because it was the first time I felt seen without needing to perform. And that's when I knew you weren't sent to save me. You were sent to remind me that I could save myself if I chose to stop running. So, from this moment, I'm choosing differently. I'm choosing courage over comfort. I'm choosing truth over hesitation. I'm choosing to build, to stay, to learn, to love you in ways that heal instead of hurt. Because I finally get it. Understanding isn't enough if it's not followed by action. You understand me. Now it's time I honor that understanding by meeting you there, fully, without armor. If you could hear my heart right now, you'd know. Every beat is spelling your name in rhythm with my breath. This isn't the kind of love that fades with time. This is the kind that matures with it. And maybe that's why it took me so long to get here. Because something this real deserves to be entered with reverence, not rush. So here I am, baby, ready to begin again, ready to love without retreat, ready to turn understanding into union, ready to let you see the man I was too scared to become. Because when I look at you, I don't just see love, I see home. And for the first time in my life, I'm not afraid to stay. Baby, I finally did it. I picked up my phone today and didn't overthink, didn't scroll through our old chats pretending I was fine, didn't let fear whisper maybe she's moved on. I just breathed, and then I wrote what my heart has been holding for too long. No rehearsed words, no drafts. Just truth, raw, trembling, unfiltered. For the first time, I didn't care if it came out messy, because loving you has never been neat. It's been real, sacred, human, and I think that's what makes it beautiful. When I hit send, I swear I felt something inside me shift, like 1,000 tiny locks opening all at once. The weight that's been sitting on my chest since the day I hesitated, it lifted. I finally understood what you meant when you said, love doesn't need perfection, it needs presence. Because the moment I stopped trying to say everything perfectly, the truth spoke for itself. And the truth is this, baby, I miss you in ways I can't name. Not just the sound of your laugh or the way you said my name like it meant home. I miss the way you saw me, the way you looked at me like I was still worth believing in, even when I was falling apart. You never treated my brokenness like a burden. You touched it like it was something holy. You made me believe that maybe my cracks weren't proof that I was damaged. Maybe they were proof that light could still get in. For months, I'd been pretending I was okay, smiling in public, drowning in private. Everyone around me kept saying, "You'll move on." But how do you move on from someone who felt like destiny wearing human skin? How do you let go of a soul that mirrors your own? I kept waiting for time to numb it, but time didn't. It just made the silence louder. And every time I tried to fill that silence with distractions, work, people, noise, it felt like betrayal, because nothing could touch me the way your voice did. You once said that love isn't about ownership, it's about alignment. and I didn't understand that back then. I thought choosing you meant controlling the story, keeping it safe, keeping it hidden. But now I see that love isn't meant to be caged, it's meant to be honored. And I'm done hiding something so divine behind fear. I want to walk into the light with it, with you. Even if the world doesn't understand, even if I have to start from scratch. So here's me, baby. No mask, no hesitation, no ego. Just a man standing in the middle of his lessons, finally brave enough to speak from his soul. If you were here right now, I'd look you in the eyes and tell you that everything I've done since you left has been me trying to find the courage to deserve you. The truth is, I never stopped loving you. I just stopped believing I was worthy of the way you love. But I'm learning, slowly, quietly, faithfully, and I want to prove it, not with grand gestures, but with consistency, the kind of consistency that makes you feel safe again. I want to show up for you, the way you've always shown up for me. Steady, patient, open-hearted. I want to write to you, not just when inspiration strikes, but when life feels dull, to remind you that love doesn't need a reason to speak, it just does. You know what I realized, baby? The hesitation was never about you. It was about me being afraid that if I let love in completely, I'd lose control of my old identity. The man who hides behind logic, behind safety, behind maybe later. But that man doesn't serve me anymore. I'm not that version now. You loved me through the unlearning, and I'm ready to meet you as who I've become. Softer, humbler, freer. So if these words ever reach you, I hope they don't just sound like apology. I hope they sound like awakening. Because this isn't just about wanting you back. This is about becoming the kind of man who would never make you question if you were chosen, who would never let silence answer where love should speak, who would never let hesitation steal what destiny wrote with its own hand. I've stopped asking the universe, what if? Now I only ask, how can I love her better? And the answer always comes in the same quiet way, by being honest, by showing her the real you, by letting her see the parts you've been hiding from yourself. So here I am, transparent, trembling, but real. And if love truly transcends time, distance, and fear, then somehow I know you'll feel this. Because even when words fail, our souls never stopped speaking. And tonight, mine is calling yours home. You once told me, the moment you stop hesitating, everything will align. Maybe that moment is now. Maybe this is the alignment. Me, standing in the middle of my fear, finally unafraid to love you without armor. Here's my truth, baby. I'm not waiting anymore. I'm walking toward you, one honest word at a time. Baby, I didn't expect you to reply so soon. I stared at the screen for a full minute before I could even breathe. Just seeing your name appear again felt like the universe exhaled with me. You didn't say much, only a few words, but every letter carried warmth. You said, I always knew you'd come back when your heart was ready. And baby, those words hit like sunlight through a window I forgot to open. For months, I've been rehearsing what I'd say if I ever got the chance. I thought I'd need grand speeches, apologies shaped like poems. But the moment I read your message, everything in me went still. Because I realized you didn't need perfection. You just needed truth. You always did. And for the first time, I'm not afraid to give it. I wanted to tell you what it felt like when I saw your reply. My hands trembled, not from fear, but from relief. The kind that happens when you realize the door you thought was closed was only ever waiting for you to knock. I wanted to call, to hear your voice again. But instead I just whispered your name into the quiet room. It felt like prayer. It felt like home. You wrote that you forgave me a long time ago. That you understood the hesitation wasn't rejection. It was healing. And baby, I can't explain what that forgiveness did to me. It didn't erase the guilt. It didn't undo the time lost. But it gave meaning to every sleepless night I spent wishing for redemption. Because your forgiveness didn't come from pity. It came from strength. You always loved like that, from a place of power, not pain. I wanted to tell you that I'm not coming back to pick up where we left off. I'm coming back to start over, to rebuild, not from memory, but from maturity, to show you that love doesn't have to live in the past tense anymore. I want to earn your peace, not interrupt it. I want to meet you in the present, the version of you who's grown, who's healed, who's learned to stand tall even without me beside you. Because I see it now. You never needed saving. You just needed someone brave enough to meet you where you already are. You told me once that love isn't about finding someone who completes you. It's about finding someone who complements your growth. And God, I see that so clearly now. You don't complete me, baby. You challenge me. You stretch me. You mirror me. You remind me that love isn't comfort, it's transformation. And I want to spend whatever time the universe allows, proving that I've finally learned how to love that way. I remember the first time I ever held your hand. I didn't know then that I was holding my lesson, my healing, my mirror. You've always been that for me, my reflection, my revelation. And now that I've finally faced my fear, I can see what you've been trying to teach me all along. That love isn't about who stays the longest, but who stays real. So here's my truth, baby. I'm done running from what's real. I'm done waiting for perfect timing. I'm done letting hesitation masquerade as patience. If I could show you my heart right now, you'd see your fingerprints everywhere, pressed into every scar, every soft place, every beat that still remembers the rhythm of your name. And maybe this isn't the moment for promises. Maybe it's just the moment for presence. So here I am. No defenses, no scripts, just me, ready to listen to whatever you have to say, even if it's silence. Because your silence isn't empty to me, it's sacred. It's the space where my soul finally learned to hear. You told me once, real love doesn't demand clarity, it creates it. And I think that's what you've done to me. You didn't force me to choose you. You helped me choose myself. You waited for my heart to arrive at its own truth. And now that it has, I see everything differently. I see how your patience was never passive. It was power disguised as grace. I want to see you again, baby. Not for closure, for clarity. I don't need to fix the past. I just want to honor it. I want to look you in the eyes and thank you for being my mirror, my compass, my gentle wake-up call. I want to sit beside you in silence and let the energy speak what words can't, because I know if I get that chance, if I get to see you again, even for a moment, I'll know that the universe really does reward courage. You know what I realized tonight? The hesitation was never between us. It was between me and my destiny. But the second I stopped resisting it, everything started aligning again. The signs, the timing, the way your message came right when I was finally ready. It all feels divinely orchestrated, like heaven's way of saying, you learned, now begin. So here I am, baby, beginning, not from guilt, not from longing, from truth, from alignment, from the quiet knowing that everything we went through had a purpose, to turn fear into faith. And if this is the next chapter, then I'm walking into it with open hands, not clenched fists, with gratitude instead of regret, with peace instead of proof. Because love doesn't need to be chased when it's meant. It just needs to be chosen. And tonight, I choose you, fully, freely, finally. You're reading this now, just know, you're not just the one who understood me, you're the one who awakened me. And for the rest of my life, I'll keep showing you. With every breath, every word, every day, that the hesitation is gone. Baby, I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time, I'm not afraid of it. Because now, when I close my eyes, I don't see endings. I see beginnings. I see a life built on presence, not promises. On laughter that comes easy. On love that doesn't keep score. On mornings where your name is the first prayer I whisper into the light. You know, I used to think love was something that had to be earned, a prize for proving yourself worthy. But you showed me that real love is recognition, not reward. It doesn't come when you've perfected yourself. It arrives when you finally surrender. And baby, that's what this is. My surrender, my open heart, my willingness to stop surviving love and start living it. I want to learn your peace the way I once memorized your pain. I want to listen when you speak without trying to fix, without trying to defend. I want to make ordinary days holy. Coffee on quiet mornings, our laughter tangled in the same sunlight, our silence wrapped around the same warmth. I want love to feel like breathing, effortless, constant, sacred, because I finally get it. The point was never to find someone who could heal me. The point was to meet someone whose love reminded me I was capable of healing myself. You did that, baby. You awakened a tenderness in me I didn't think existed anymore. And I promise, from this moment on, I'll protect that awakening like it's something divine, because it is. So if this is what love looks like now, honest, imperfect, brave, then I'm ready for it. Ready to build, to grow, to stay. Ready to replace hesitation with devotion. Ready to meet every tomorrow with the same simple vow, to love you without fear, without armor, without pause. Because the truth is, when I said I choose you, it wasn't a moment. It was a lifetime decision. Every sunrise that greets us, every challenge that tests us, every silence that holds us. I'll keep choosing you through it all, again and again. And maybe that's what love really means in the end. Not grand gestures or flawless timing, but the quiet, consistent choosing, the kind that says, even after everything, I'm still here, still reaching, still believing. So here's to us, to every lesson, every detour, every return. Here's to a love that no longer hides in hesitation, but stands tall in clarity. Here's to you, my mirror, my peace, my sacred beginning. Because after all this time, I finally understand. You weren't just the one who awakened me. You're the one who taught me how to stay awake, baby. The day finally came. I saw you again, and nothing, no words, no memories, no rehearsed apologies could have prepared me for the moment our eyes met. It wasn't dramatic or loud. It was quiet, holy, like two souls finally remembering where they left off. The world around us faded, the air shifted, even the noise of the city softened as if it too was holding its breath. You didn't speak first, you just smiled. That same soft, knowing smile that used to undo me in an instant. My knees felt weak, but my heart felt steady, because for the first time, I wasn't standing in fear, I was standing in truth. I walked closer, slow, careful, reverent. Every step felt like forgiveness being written in real time. The hesitation that once lived between us, it dissolved the second I said your name out loud. You looked at me, eyes glistening, and whispered, "You finally came home." And baby, I did. I came home, not just to you, but to myself, to the version of me that believes again, to the love that no longer trembles when it's seen, to the peace that doesn't run when it's felt. We didn't talk much that night. We didn't need to. The silence said it all. It said, "I waited for you." It said, "I never stopped believing." It said this was never lost. It was just learning how to be found. You reached out, your fingers brushing mine, and suddenly everything made sense. Every delay, every heartbreak, every unanswered prayer, it was all leading here. Because heaven doesn't rush what's sacred and what we have. It was always sacred. You said something that will stay with me forever. You whispered, "I knew you'd come when your love learned how to speak." And I realized then that all along, it wasn't my heart that was broken. It was just my courage that was late. So here I am now, no longer hesitating, no longer afraid to love you out loud, no longer questioning if I deserve something divine. Because this, what we've built, what we've survived, it's not ordinary love. It's eternal recognition. It's two souls fulfilling a promise made long before this lifetime. I took your hand, kissed your palm, and said, "I won't let fear speak for me again." And you smiled, the kind of smile that feels like sunrise after endless nights. The angels must have been watching, because the wind shifted gently, almost like it was applauding, and in that sacred stillness, I knew. Hesitation had finally turned into homecoming. Baby, you once told me that when two hearts are meant to meet again, even time becomes their servant. And you were right, because we found each other again, not as broken versions, but as whole beings who chose love despite the noise. And that, my love, is what makes this story divine. So, if you're hearing this right now, if you're feeling every word deep in your chest, maybe it's your confirmation too. Maybe this is your sign that love, real love, never dies. It transforms, it waits, it tests, and then it returns stronger than ever. And as the night faded into dawn, I realized something profound. The hesitation that once held me back wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It was teaching me how to love you with both faith and freedom. And now that I'm here, I'm never letting go again. Because the truth, beloved, is simple. You were never the storm I feared. You are the calm I was born to find. So here's my promise. I'll spend every sunrise proving that your patience was never in vain. Every day will be a love letter I write with actions instead of apologies. Every moment will be my vow that I'll never let hesitation steal what destiny gave back. And if the world ever asks me what love feels like, I'll say your name, because loving you isn't a chapter. It's the entire story, beloved. If these words touched your soul, then there's something I want you to have. My first ever e-book, Love Link Letters, holds everything the divine masculine could never say aloud. It's a journey through his heart, his fears, his love, and his soul's promises. You'll find the link in the description below. Take this step if you're ready to understand the connection on a deeper level. And if you felt this message move through you, if it healed even a small corner of your heart, tap on the super thanks below to support these angelic stories reaching more souls who need them. And if you can't, that's okay too. Your love and your energy are just as sacred. You can still support this work by getting the Love Link Letters ebook and helping this message spread to those searching for their own divine mirror. Because this isn't just a story, it's a calling. A reminder that real love never leaves. It evolves. So, until we meet again in the next message, keep your faith soft, your heart open, and your love fearless. You are loved. You are seen. You are chosen. And as always, I'll see you in the light, beloved.